Hey guys, it's Gawain, and today we are going to be looking at the edgiest legend in Apex, Revenant. Revenant is an offensive legend that specialises in ability denial and aggression. Revenant can be incredibly oppressive in the right hands, so let's learn how to play him. Revenant is equipped with his silencing spheres, of which he gets 2 charges before having to wait out a 25-second cooldown per sphere. These silencing spheres are fired from Revenant's offhand, and when they land they explode into an orange and black cloud that obstructs vision slightly, deals 10 damage, and locks enemy players out of all of their abilities for 15 seconds when they come in contact. Everyone can walk through these orbs, but enemies will gain the effects when in contact with the pretty big hitbox it possesses. You can't hit enemies twice with the same sphere, as it only lasts for 10 seconds and the silencing effect lasts for 15. During the time that enemies are silenced, they will have an orange visual effect around them that matches the orb itself to let you know that they are silenced and can't use abilities. You can hold the tactical button to see the arc of which your silencing spheres travel to get an accurate shot onto enemies. Try to use this ability to deter and prevent enemies from pushing or escaping. I try my best to throw them behind cover where enemies are hiding to push them out or at least make them sweat a little, or put them in the enemy's path to force them to slow down a bit or stop entirely when they are pushing me. This works best when they have to push through doorways or other choke points to get to you, so just throw a silencing orb in there and they will have to stop the push or at least come out severely disadvantaged. Another thing worth noting is that Revenant can multitask, meaning you can use your tactical whilst healing, shooting, reloading, and even throwing ordnance. Use this knowledge to keep your actions per minute up and get immense value by using your tactical whilst there's normally downtime like reloading or healing. To summarise, Revenant's silencing spheres lock enemies out of their abilities, so you should use that to prevent enemies from engaging or escaping with them. I like to use these orange orbs as deterrents for enemies heading my way to try and frustrate them and make a mistake because of it, and their lack of abilities. Revenant's passive is a pretty simple one, and it's called Stalker. This affects 2 things, your crouch speed and maximum climb height. First of all, whenever you crouch walk, it's the exact same speed as your regular walking pace. As for your climb height, you can essentially climb any building, as the distance you can go is enough to get to any vantage point you could dream of. Furthermore, you'll climb the shorter walls any legend can climb 25% faster than them, because it takes a lot longer for your climbing speed to decelerate. I find the climbing height and speed increase a lot more useful than the crouch speed increase because you can get into hiding spots or just better off angles to shoot unsuspecting enemies from for essentially no cost at all. That being said, don't sleep on the crouch speed increase because it allows you to sneak up on and around enemies faster than normal legends because nobody makes a sound when crouch walking in Apex, so the fact that you can do it at a regular walking pace is amazing. Finally, it also helps you avoid enemy fire better. Let me explain. When you normally try and dodge enemy attacks in Apex, you strafe left and right with a crouch or 2 in between, so when you crouch within that on Revenant, you move slightly faster because there is no speed decrease for you. But your hitbox also decreases in size significantly because you are one of, if not the tallest legend in the game. Another thing Revenant can do is literally just stay crouching and strafe left to right, as it's the same speed as if he was standing, just with a lot smaller of a hitbox. Revenant's ultimate is incredibly strong. He summons a death totem that takes 1 second to create fully and will last 30 seconds minimum if not destroyed beforehand. More on that later. When you, your teammates, or even enemies interact with your totem, they will be turned into shadows for a maximum of 25 seconds. Shadow form is essentially where every legend gets turned into a black and orange smoke version of themselves. When in shadow form, players will only receive base health damage, so their evo shields will be completely ignored, but when that health gets depleted entirely, they will return to the totem at half HP or lower if they entered the totem with less. Players cannot heal in shadow form, but they can revive and respawn teammates or perform finishes to restore their shield health still. If a player's shadow form runs out before they get killed in it, then they will return to normal with the same amount of base health they had when they left shadow form. So if it's about to run out and you're in the open, try your best to get killed so you return to the totem, which is hopefully a safe space. Furthermore, if the totem gets destroyed and players are in shadow form, then they will be instantly taken out of it, returning to normal. That being said, the totem's 30-second timer can be extended because it will stay alive until the last player who entered shadow form either dies in it and returns to the totem, or their shadow form runs out. It's also worth mentioning that every player only gets one use of death protection per totem, so make the most of it. I like to use this whenever we are going to engage an enemy because it means we can int into them with no consequences, go back to the totem and then push them again. This works best with abilities that can transport your whole squad like Octane's jump pad or Pathfinder's zipline. Be as aggressive as you can whilst in shadow form because you have literally nothing to lose in it. Revenant is in the offensive class for a reason. He wants to be aggressive and oppressive. You should be flinging your balls at the enemy and telling your team when you hit and silence them so you can begin pushing. Throw down a death totem and full send it towards the enemy. If you get sent back to the death totem, then heal up with a quick med kit and get right back in there. Maybe take a different route to some high ground this time and utilize your passive. If you get into a sticky situation with both your teammates downed, try and crouch walk and sneak away to cover and heal up before going back for them and cleaning up the enemy. If the enemy pushes you whilst healing, throw an orb down behind a doorway or choke point near you to deter them from following you. You want to go completely monkey brain when in shadow form, and slightly more cautious when you aren't due to your big hitbox, but don't be scared to peek and take gunfights as you are in the offensive class after all. Revenant is pretty aggressive, mean and rude to every legend in the cast, even if he doesn't have a personal vendetta against them. Some of his lines can be funny, but most of the time he's just an angry, edgy boy, to anyone and everyone. I don't find this annoying and don't see how it could be, so Revenant's personality shouldn't be something that draws you away from him. Due to Revenant's hyper-aggressive playstyle during shadow form, but a slightly more cautious approach regularly, I recommend using an assault rifle paired with a shotgun, specifically the Flatline and Mastiff. Now, I will say that any guns can work on Revenant. I just found the best results having a weapon that can do close to mid-ranged engagements, as well as having a good close-ranged burst. This is due to you getting up close and personal with the enemy when in shadow form. I choose the Flatline because it has a good time to kill with good damage stat and fire rates, alongside easy to predict bullet drop for the most part. That being said, the R301 and Havoc can work well on Rev too. As for the Mastiff, it has consistently good damage at close range and can burst down enemies quickly, especially when you've already done a lot of damage with your Flatline. Overall, I like something with a bit of range and decent damage per bullet paired with something that can burst down enemies in close quarters. Revenant has 3 counters: Other Revenants, Crypto, and Watson. Other Revenants are obvious. They can lock you out of your abilities, so just hit your silencing orbs on them first to assert dominance. Crypto's EMP can destroy your death totem, so either shoot the drone before the EMP fully detonates, or silence the Crypto before he can press the button to detonate it so he can't use his abilities. Watson's interception pylon will destroy your silencing spheres when they enter the radius of it, so either silence her before she places it, or just shoot it out. An honourable mention are bullets and explosives, as enemies and you, the Revenant player, can shoot out or explode your totem as it has 100 HP, so try your best to conceal it behind cover out of enemies' lines of sight. Also, be careful when returning to your totem, as if you're firing when you die, you will continue firing at your totem when you come out of it. Use your silencing spheres in the middle of any doorway to deter enemies from pushing through it, hopefully giving you time to heal, reload, or find a way out to escape them. Take advantage of your increased crouch speed when strafing left and right to dodge bullets by reducing your hitbox size, making you harder to hit. Use your death totem to be hyper aggressive and deal a lot of damage to the enemy by rushing them without being punished. Use the location indicator on your tactical to accurately throw your silencing spheres onto enemies. Call to your teammates when you're going to use your totem so they can maximize the use of it too. Also, call who to target when you land a silencing orb on someone. Overall, Revenant is an easy legend to play in my opinion. His silencing spheres are the only thing you really need to learn how to use because of their trajectory, and his passive and ultimate are incredibly straightforward to use. Learn how to snipe enemies with your silencing spheres, how to maximize your passive, how to be hyper aggressive when in shadow form, and you are sure to become a pretty decent Revenant player. Thank you all for watching, I do hope you enjoyed. Just as a quick footnote, as a thing I forgot to mention was that when you place your death totem, a big orange glowy sphere circle thing emits from it, so every team in the nearby vicinity will know that you've just ulted, so be careful when doing that as it can lead all eyes onto you. If you found this guide helpful in any way, shape or form, please consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends as it helps grow the channel, and that is much appreciated. As always, all the clips you saw in this video were taken from my Twitch stream, link will be on screen and in the description. Loba will be next for the Apex series, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.